Hello, welcome to Entertainment Tonight. Here's my audience.
Hello there.
Such a fine audience.
Very critical.
Okay, so y'all, thank you for being here for this tonight. So, the day that I was handcuffed and sent to jail for having an expired inspection sticker. Actually, I had gotten 2 tickets. I'd been at 2 tickets in separate counties. I had gotten tickets for not having my inspection sticker current. Well, I took care of it, but unbeknownst to me, since I didn't let the courts know about it, it went into warrant for 2. So apparently I didn't learn my lesson. And I also now had my registration was out of date, so I got pulled over again. And you know, when a police officer says, "Please step out of the car, ma'am," that's not a good thing. That when they say step out of the car, usually that's not good. So sure enough, I got out of the car. He immediately told me to put my hands behind my back. And I'll tell you, the first thing you want to do is run. But I knew I couldn't run. Instead, I was just completely panicked. And I asked him, please let me call my boyfriend. Because I was the invited photographer to a huge event that was happening in the stadium downtown Houston. I was on my way to the event. It was 2:30 on a Friday afternoon. I was completely, you can't tell you the fear when a police officer puts you in handcuffs. It's just a frightening feeling. Anyways, and the guy was just reveled in my fear. He loved it. And he didn't tell me that my boyfriend had already come by. I didn't know that my boyfriend saw me get arrested. And he came by the scene of the arrest to see if they would allow him to take my car home so it wasn't impounded. The cop said to my boyfriend, you just need to get on out of here. And the cop never told me that he came by. He would rather see me tremble in fear than to tell me it's okay, your boyfriend already knows. The only thing good about that whole scene was that I had just gotten a new phone, and the ringer on my phone was the Star Spangled Banners, and everybody was trying to call me. The cop was being a real jerk to me. Put me in the back of this cop car with my hands behind, and he was just not very nice, and my phone kept going off. Dun, 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 dun. It kind of made me feel good. I was thinking, yeah, that's right. Anyway, so he had to transfer me to another precinct, so I was on the side of the road for probably about an hour in handcuffs, and it's painful. After a while, your shoulders start to hurt. And also, when one cop's not nice, they're all not nice to you because they apparently support each other. Long story short, transfer me to another precinct, which was Pasadena, Texas, a real redneck county, and I was really worried about what the cop was going to be like there. I was thinking I can hardly wait. So sure enough, the cop comes. He's like, his belly's hanging out, his shirt's untucked, he's got donut wrappers all in his car, and he's got this big old Mexican guy in the back that looks like a gang member. He's got like designs in his head, and I was thinking, I looked at this police officer, I was like, am I going to sit with him? And he said, don't worry, I'll clean the front out for you. Well, they also transfer handcuffs. He transferred his handcuffs. When he did, I said, I'm thinking to myself, there's no way, because after I'd been abused by this other guy, I was like, any way I can put my hands in front? He said, sure. I can't tell you how good it feels to go from this to this. Anyways. Okay, so then we get in the car. He moved out the donut wrappers. Sat in the front seat, and the Mexican guy in the back seat ended up being a really nice guy. He just looked like a really badass gang member, And so this police officer let me use my phone. I called my boyfriend. That's when I found out that he was already on his way to take care of my warrant so that he could get me out of jail. We get to jail, and I called the Jose was his name. I called his sister for him. It was a nice little experience, actually. So we get to jail, and there's the guy behind the counter there he's like Mr. Radio announcer making fun of everybody that comes to jail. Just saying, oh, welcome to jail. Here you are. Welcome to jail. And what's your name? That's how they were talking. I didn't think it was very funny. Anyways, we got booked. Jose and I got booked together. That was really a special experience. It really was. So now they take me to the jail cell. I get to the jail cell, and let me tell you something. When you get pushed into jail, there is nothing, I can't tell you the surrealness of it all. And when a jail door clanks behind you, the sound is, you can't get out of your head. It's like a heavy-duty metal clank. So he pushed me in there, and there's 2 cement bunk beds and 1 silver toilet. And I remember looking at the toilet thinking, I'm not going near that. Anyways, there was 2 girls that were in jail. They had been there for 36 hours, both of them really rough looking. One of them, and so they pushed me into jail. And I knew that I couldn't act all weenie. I had to be really kind of tough. So I remember I stuck up my chest, and I remember they pushed me in and clank, and I go, hi, what are you doing? I go, hey, what are you doing here, you know? And they proceeded, one of them was in jail for violating her parole with a concealed weapon, and parole for manslaughter, by the way, which is another word for murder. And then the other girl, I don't know what she was in there for, but they'd been there for 36 hours, so they were not happy people. And then after I hear that, and I'm like hyperventilating inside, but acting really cool, you know? And they go, you don't look like a jail person. What are you doing here? And I go, and I'm thinking to myself, I stood up really straight. I looked her in the eye, and I go, my inspection sticker, so don't mess with me. But I didn't say mess. Actually, I said a harder word, a much harder word than mess. Don't mess with me.
What did you say?
I said, yeah. So the moral of the story is, and actually, I ended up, my boyfriend got me out of jail about 2 hours later, and, and it's turned into, as traumatic as it was, I have to say, as traumatic as it was, I was really traumatized over that. I learned a couple things. First, I don't trust cops at all, and I appreciate these kids, especially the young black men out there that are pulled over because they're wearing a hoodie. I can appreciate the fear that they have. And the other thing is, it was a traumatic experience, and now it's a really funny story. So there you have it. My audience is still here.
And you said you were not prepared.